Hello everyone, Daniel Yuck here. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you. In today's video, I want to take some time and I want to bring you all an updated video on how I go about holding my tattoo machine when tattooing. I'm going to relay as much information as I possibly can. I'm going to touch base on my logic, the thought process, and the approach. Should you have any questions about anything that you see or hear throughout this video, I'm going to encourage you to drop a comment down below. Rest assured, I'll do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. With that being said, let's go and dive straight on into this. I'm also going to be releasing a membership here on YouTube that will give you access to exclusive Discord chat rooms. It'll give you access to stencils like this and a lot more along the way. So I will be releasing more details on that membership program, so be sure to stick around for that as well. For this demonstration, I'm going to be demonstrating with this real skin right here. I will leave links for you in the description below for the gear that I'm using. This is a wormhole silicone hand as well that I'm going to be tattooing on. So I'm not tattooing on a flat surface. I want to demonstrate on something with a curve on it. And I'm also going to be using the Drago Art Phantom tattoo machine with the updated Inkclaw wireless power supply. For this demonstration right here, I'm also going to be using dynamic black tattooing ink. Again, I am going to leave links for you in the description below. When it comes to holding a tattoo machine, one of the first considerations that I'm thinking about is understanding the tattoo gear that I am using. So what I mean is, for this demonstration, again, I'm going to be using this Phantom tattoo machine, which is a short pin style tattoo machine. Without the power supply, the tattoo machine is right here. We have it wrapped up right now. And as you can see, it is on the smaller side of a tattoo machine, and this is the wireless power supply. So we don't have any wires or anything like that. Typically coil machines would be made of maybe even metal grips or disposable plastic grips, which are pretty thin as well. And we have the body up here hanging with a clipboard, kind of pulling it that way. So understanding your tattoo gear is going to help you in the right direction. It's going to help you navigate to a comfortable posture and holding style when it comes to tattooing. With that being said, understanding the gear, there also comes this different sizing of the gear. As I was mentioning, even coil machines tend to have maybe metal grips that may be even fatter than this. Different hand sizes may require different grip sizes. So understanding your tattoo gear and then fine-tuning your settings. In this case, as you can see, I did put a thicker weight right here on the grip size, as you see right here. That's fully subjective, to each their own. Once you figure out those two variables, we're going to want to go ahead and get into the actual holding posture and stability aspect of holding the machine and pulling a line. So for me, when it actually comes to pulling a line, I used to actually guide a needle with this finger right here. Let me put a cartridge in and explain a little bit more on that. This is a Stigma Aquamarine cartridge right here. This is a standard 11 round shader. And when I first started, I used to use this middle finger right here, and I would use that to guide my lines across the way. That is how I started developing and establishing stability upon tattooing. Everybody starts somewhere. I'm not saying this is where you should begin or this is where anyone has to start. That was how my journey went down. And I've noticed a lot of people have noticed that my holding style did change because I'm no longer using this middle finger to guide me along the way. And there's multiple reasons why the holding style changed. I do feel as we are constantly developing as artists, different things are changing. Inks may change, maybe even color inks that we use, needles that we like, machines, etc., etc. You kind of get the idea. So with that as well, my posture in terms of holding my machine changed. Actually, let's demonstrate one of those right here. So I'm going to demonstrate this little area right here. I'm going to pull a line the old way that I used to. I used to set the needle cartridge like so. As you see, it's resting right here on my middle finger, the curvature of the needle cartridge. And the idea behind this was to provide me with stability so that way I can simply guide the tattoo needle across. And it worked out well for me. I was able to establish and gain an understanding of pulling lines for me. And let's go ahead and do that here. I'm running at about 7.3 volts. Yes, 7.3 volts. And that is how I used to go about pulling lines when I first started tattooing. The reason being is because I was able, again, to feel confident to go from A to B without having to lift up, while doing the best, most consistent line that I could possibly do. This basically also kept me from wobbling all over the place. This gave me the most consistent results for that moment in time. Over time, when I would tattoo human skin like this, I did notice that this area right here would pull up on different cartridges and then connect with my glove and kind of smear all over my canvas area. I want to see if I can kind of mimic that action so that way I can explain and actually visually show you. So you can see there is pulling, and I'm sure some people may have experienced that along the way, or maybe with some specific cartridges where the pull connects with your glove and then it actually gets all over the canvas site. So that was ultimately one of the downfalls that I did experience, as it did get all over the canvas. You would have to kind of wipe a little bit more than usual, potentially losing the stencil a bit more. I didn't really ever lose any stencils when using this method on human skin, so that wasn't a real concern of mine. However, I'm not sure if anyone else have potentially experienced something like that. But ultimately, long story short there, that's the reason why I used to hold the machine that way, just so that I can get comfortable with pulling lines from A to B and finding consistent motions and figuring out flows of the design. It was just basically kind of a stepping stone to where I was going to be, so to speak. So those are some of the reasons why I would use my middle finger right here to guide my tattoo machine across. This index finger is up top up here, my thumb is right here. These two are resting on my canvas like that, and that posture right there, that hold, was able to give me the smoothest lines possible for that moment in time. As you can see, it's all kind of moving together. Now, it hasn't really changed much from this time right here. What I do now is I actually rest it on this third finger. So I have my middle finger up here, I have my index right here, and then here's a ring and pinky, thumb up here. So now what I'm doing is I'm resting the cartridge on this part of my hand like so. And then I'll go ahead and rest my middle finger up here, and then my index in this area like this. So this is a new way that I am holding my tattoo machine, as you see. And when I'm pulling lines, I'm still using this area of my hand to kind of guide my way consistently across my canvas. I want to also point out that when I'm doing this, I'm not actually pressing down hard and depending on my canvas to stay still for a clean, consistent line. I'm more so kind of floating, and I'm feeling out my canvas site when I'm pulling a line. And right now, that's essentially how I am pulling lines, like this right here. So the middle finger, my ring finger right here, middle finger, index, and then thumb. And I have a nice grip on the machine. And this right here, I'm holding it like this because this is where I feel the most stability when I am pulling lines. This is where I've experienced the least amount of wobble. So allow me to pull this line right here. And I'm gonna do my best here to go ahead and pull this line. I'm not going for perfection, but I am going for the demonstration. I want to really get these points across here. And then as you see, I have the machine like so, and I'm gonna kind of just guide my way into it as I would any other line. We are getting a little bounce in the skin there, but I'm able to remain consistent along the way, pulling the cleanest line that I possibly can, as you see right here. And I'm basically going to repeat this process with this thicker line weight all the way around this tattoo right here. I'm going to go ahead and do smaller line weights for the details. But that is the idea, that is the overall concept. That's how I go about holding my machine now. And the reason being is because this way, again, I'm able to really hold this machine in a more stable manner. I feel more at bay, and I feel less wobbles and experience less wobbles when I am tattooing with this specific holding position and posture. Also keep in mind, one tip that I want to relay as well is I like to have this area right here that's actually sliding on my canvas, whether it's human skin and or fake skin. I like to have a little bit of ointment. So I'll grab a little bit of ointment and I'll always put it in the surrounding areas of the site. So you kind of want to get it on the outer areas, and you can kind of literally just lightly, and just a thin layer. You don't need much. It doesn't need to get messy. As you can see, it's just a very thin layer, and this is actually going to contribute to the slide. And again, you're not wanting to really depend on your canvas, but you do want to use it to guide along the way. And the direction that I'm pulling in as well has been a big factor in determining my comfortability and posture when pulling lines. So this line right here, I wouldn't want to pull it away from me. I'm going to pull it this way, and I'm going to do so with the exact same posture and holding style. As you see right here, I'm going to hold it like so, and I feel really comfortable. I feel really stable doing it this way. This positioning versus this right here feels a bit better to me, because I feel like my hand is kind of too big to hold it like this comfortably. So my hand is kind of like pushing up against the machine, creating this sort of feel. But when I move it this way, this may work better for smaller hands, but for my hand, I think I have like a more medium-sized hand. I'm going to put it this way and allow the needle cartridge to rest. I'm going to use this to provide me with stability, and then I'm going to use the squeeze right here to give me even more stability to go ahead and pull these lines. Get a taper in right here. It's going to be as comfortable as I possibly can. Like so. Then I would repeat this process all the way around until I've completed lining with this line weight on the areas that I need to line. As I was developing, I figured that when I'm pulling longer lines, when I do it this way, my hand naturally starts to do this, because the pushing right here, the squeeze right here is pushing against where I'm holding the tattoo machine. So when I'm pulling a line like this, it's kind of moving the machine up, so to speak, when I'm out of range of a decent healthy line right here. So I'll be like this, and then it'll start shaking right around here and taper out, and then you'll see that. So for me, I didn't really like that. I figured that I can pull more comfortable lines right here when I'm doing this, and if I needed to, I can kind of go like this and then pull out if I need to that way. So just overall, the reason of the change was for the comfortability and for the visual appearance of the lines. I figured and I found that holding it like this was better for my hand size and for my hand speed and voltage, the way that I pull tattoo lines right here. And that is essentially why. Yet again, it wasn't a dramatic change. It just went from this to this right here. Let me go ahead and show you right here. So this is the holding style right here. You see my pointing finger, middle finger, thumb, ring finger, and pinky. That's how it is now. And I pull the lines correspondence as smooth as I can. And then this was the old way. Be like this, and then to each their own. If you want to start off with the middle finger method, kind of build rapport, build a familiarity with what you were doing, how you want to flow with your stencils, how to dab and keep it clean, all of that, by all means you can do that. Keep in mind that little pulling effect, and keeping it may end up dirtying your canvas more. Either or, you know, you kind of get to where you're going. I don't want to sit here and tell you to start this way and then do it this way until you get comfortable and then do it this way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain why I hold the machine the way that I do now, and I'm trying to explain the logic behind it, so you can kind of take what you want, leave what you don't, figure out what works best for you. You may even have a whole different approach and holding style, which is completely fine as well. One of the main things that I did notice when I changed my holding style from this middle finger way to this way was that I was able to pull longer lines a bit more fluidly. So if you're looking for that sort of feel, I would recommend trying it out this way. I'm gonna do those details in there with smaller line weights. So all I want to do is get this outer line with this thicker line weight. But as you can see, from A to B, I'm able to get there much more swiftly, especially when I'm making these sort of curves right here. I can turn a bit more smoothly here without having to worry about the pulling and potentially dirtying the canvas. Let's line this outer edge right here, and I'm going to just touch base on it. And I kind of want to demonstrate both here. I guess just for me, it's kind of a personal preference thing, really. Some people may actually even feel more comfortable with this, which is something I completely understand. I did a lot of tattoos that way, and it did get me through it. for this right here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it the new way that I'm pulling it. And you can see I'm kind of letting it all sit comfortably right here. You can't see it from up top, but it is sitting on my hand. And I'm making sure that I have a good stretch, or that the skin is held in place. So for me, it just feels a lot more smoother and a lot more natural, this method versus the middle finger method now. And I'm able to pull more longer, steady, consistent lines via this method right here. This is something that I would just kind of repeat the entire tattoo until I am done. Allow me to demonstrate the old method here, where I would use my middle finger so we can kind of see the difference. And if you're going to be, I guess, dragging that middle finger over, then you may want to put some ointment to that. It's a really good tip to utilize. Make sure that you can slide easily. So for me, I already feel a bit more unnatural, like I'm forcing against what's comfortable for me. And I know that because I have to try a little bit harder here. Although the line is not bad, it just feels a little bit more unnatural to me versus the new way that I hold my tattoo machine. So this right here, this feeling alone, that bit of unnaturalness upon pulling lines, can really impact the work overall and the readability of the tattoo. So that's why it's really important, I feel, to kind of develop on fake skin to really see what's right and wrong for us. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a line, this method right here. So as you can see, we are getting nice, clean, solid, consistent, saturated lines. That's exactly what I am going for, and that's what I want to see when I am pulling lines. And I'm doing it with the new way that I hold my machine, which I showed you all here. And I would just repeat this process all the way through. And again, until the tattoo is done, it really is kind of that easy there. So for something like this, I'm going to do the old method where I place my hands here, middle finger, and I'm going to go from here to here. And right here already, going this way, I don't feel comfortable with pulling the entire line. And if I do, I'm going to wobble around here because I'm doing it just in this reenactment right here. So with the middle finger method, it still provides me with stable, consistent lines. However, the lines are a bit shorter over what I can get with this method, where I feel a lot more comfortable holding the machine like so. And I'm going to pull this line towards me. Like so. Dab away. Continue the process. That is the idea behind it. It really is a personal preference thing. It really is more about what's comfortable to me and how I'm able to get from A to B with the cleanest, consistent results. It's going to be a real to each their own. You kind of want to take what you want, leave what you don't. If this exact posture works for you, that's great. Let me know down below how you hold your machine. I'm very interested to hear how you're holding your machine. What style of machine are you using? What voltage are you running at? All of this matters as well, because vibration as well can become fatiguing to hands over time. So there's much to consider when it comes to holding a tattoo machine. Before we go ahead and conclude this video, another thing here that I did notice about holding my machine and in this manner right here was that I'm able to round corners, like on the physical. Let's say for example this wrist right here, how there is a corner right here, I'm able to round those a bit more comfortably and easier than I would dragging this. It just feels a bit more natural to me, and I'm gonna just kind of round it here. To the best of my ability. So you can see there, it's easier for me to round areas, holding it this way versus again this way. And again, I'm not saying that it's impossible to do it this way, because you totally can. You can use the middle finger to tattoo, and again, this is just going to be something that you kind of work into, figure out what's right and wrong for you. But for me right here, this feels a little bit more forceful. So my machine slightly slipping a little bit, so I have less control when I was going at this sort of angle. Although I did pull a decent line there, I had less control, as you can see right here, going this way, and it was real hard on the fingertip right here. So for me, holding it like this would have been ideal, simply going like this and then over like so, following it around. You get the idea. Ultimately, the reason why I decided to change my holding position, it was just kind of something that happened naturally over time. It wasn't something that I came to right away. It was something that I worked into, and it was something that just kind of gradually became more comfortable over my time in tattooing. And for those who are curious as to why, for me, it's just more natural of a feel. I get better consistent results for me personally holding it this way and posturing my holding hand this way. I was able to achieve better results. So ultimately, because of that natural feel, because of the results that I was achieving, I went ahead and I stuck with this sort of holding position and this posture over this one. And it's probably something that I just kind of outgrew, and this is a new way that I grew into it. It does happen, and I'm sure it's going to happen to a lot of you as you continue to progress throughout your tattooing ventures here. Now, if I didn't touch base on anything specific throughout this video, or if you have any questions about anything that you may have seen throughout this video, I'm going to highly encourage you, drop a comment down below, and I'm going to do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. I also have social medias all under the same name as this YouTube channel. I have a Facebook, Instagram, a Twitter, and a TikTok. I would truly appreciate the support on there as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Lily and Lila Yuck's YouTube channel, as a Yuck family truly appreciates your support. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me and ring that bell, as I'm going to be bringing more videos like this for you all. Thank you for tuning in yet again. You have a great day.